G'day everyone, I'm James Orr. We're here for another one. Today I've got Mario Zuppini, Cyber Director over at Cyber Wyze. Today we want to unpack a little bit for you around, what are the first steps that a business can take on their cyber journey? Let's dive in. Mario, thanks for joining us again. To give a bit of context on the cyber journey, and that term gets overused a lot, but
Definitely.
often I think the journey concept gets used is because, it's got to be something that comes into your business and becomes a part of the daily life cycle of what you do. So security is not a thing you do, it's a capability that exists within your business and it grows throughout time. Now, if a business is going to start the process of formalising their approach to cybersecurity, there's 5 key steps that we talk about quite a lot. Let's unpack them a little bit today and perhaps give an organisation that's approaching cybersecurity with a little bit of context and hopefully a little bit of simplicity around the kind of steps that they can take when they're kicking off.
Sure. So it can be a bit daunting for a lot of businesses, the whole cybersecurity thing.
Yeah.
It's a journey, it's an ongoing item. To help simplify that for a lot of people, we do have the 5 steps that we talk about routinely. We initially take stock. Mm-hmm. So essentially just what are we working with? What does your business require? What does it use? What do you have in-house?
So we're thinking about things like what systems and software do we use?
Correct.
Where do we store things? What data do we hold?
Yep.
What are some of the other things that people might be considering?
Basically, to stay away from your data that you hold, comes to point number 2, which is assessing your risk.
Right.
So we basically have to take factor in what type of data you are holding and working with, what customer data, personal data sort of thing.
Obligations you might have under law. Yeah.
That's exactly right. Yep. And that will essentially lead you into the next one, which is like implementing your basic controls. So based on what type of data you've got, may change the level and detail of security.
And that's a big one too, because, so if you come in and you've gone through those first couple of steps where you've got a good grip on what you've got, you've then gone through and done an assessment. That assessment's revealed some gaps. Sometimes some of those gaps can be a little bit scary.
Correct.
But there's often a short list of critical ones that you can tackle first. And they're the sort of basic things we're talking about. And what sort of controls might fit into those critical ones? What are the big ones that come up pretty regularly?
Backups.
Yeah.
Backups. I hate to say it again, I'm going to say it, backups. The lack of backups is what trips up a lot of people.
Yeah.
They believe they have it in place.
Sure.
And then when it comes to the point where you need to recover or use those backups, there's either a fault in it, they didn't complete properly, and suddenly you have data missing.
But not tested.
Correct. It's a backup isn't a backup unless it's been tested.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, no, that makes sense. What are some of those other basic or critical controls that pop up often?
Yeah, so keeping everything updated. So your workstations, your servers, ensuring all your latest security patches are implemented.
Firmware, software updates generally.
That's exactly right. Yeah. So as long as you have your critical updates installed, that's the best first step you can do.
Right, okay. Now, if we sort of take things a step moved from there, so, we've gone through those, first critical steps, we've gone and sewn up some of those, immediate gaps that we've found. What's really the next part of getting serious around cyber?
So from there, you want to develop your own cybersecurity plan in-house. So based on what your business does, the data you have, the number of people, work out which cybersecurity framework best suits your business.
Sure.
And then implement that, take the best steps you can to implement it and move forward with that. And that is the direction you need to go.
Does that also include a continuous improvement plan bundled into it?
Correct. So it's not a one-stop shop.
Yeah.
Tick and flick. You don't do it once and then forget about it. It is ongoing process from then on. And it just becomes your daily business and work.
Yep.
It shouldn't impede your workflow. It's there to assist and help control your security infrastructure.
And a big thing that we find generally when it comes to creating these cybersecurity plans or continuous improvement plans is ownership. Someone needs to own it and drive it in the business. Otherwise, it ends up like a piece of paper, might be a digital one, in the drawer, right? So it's got to be living and breathing. So that's a great start point. That'll sort of set the agenda moving forward and create actions, timetable, And ultimately, that helps you sort of size up what kind of security you need to implement generally.
Yeah, definitely.
Right? Okay. Now, what's the other critical step that's often missing when people kick off on their cyber journey?
So we've spoken about 4 now, and the last one, which is essentially the most critical of all of them, is user education, user training. So you can put all your best practices and protocols in place, but if users and your staff aren't there and don't know how to use them and implement these,
Yep.
It's pointless. So it really comes down from an education base from everybody in the business, from top down. The highest level of the hierarchy needs to be doing it, as well as the lowest people.
Yeah, and there's two really important things to consider about user training is that skills are really important, helping them identify threats. But the big one is creating the culture of resilience. So by placing importance on training and doing regular training,
Correct.
it creates a culture where people are rightly challenging and critically analysing the things that might pop up on a day-to-day basis, so that, and you mentioned it before, right? So, let's just say that we've established a really robust cyber program. We've got, great firewalls, policies, and procedures. People are still the last line of defense in any business.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
And you can't restrict everything.
No.
So the key there is to go, well, okay, if we invest in training, that's also affecting this living and breathing aspect to cybersecurity in a business.
Oh, correct. One good analogy story I like to go back to is there was a test done with a security operations team, a SOC team. Sorry, the speaker there. And what they did was they were adhering to all their security requirements, and they still fell victim to a phishing email scam. Now, this is a trained security team, and they still fell victim for an email that came through, and they didn't do their own correct checks, and they were trained in it.
Yeah.
So it is definitely important for people not to feel ridiculed if they get something wrong. It is a learning thing for everybody, and you're all on the same team moving forward with it.
Yeah. No, and I think that's the thing is that there is no perfection. It's all about progress. And, everyone's got a responsibility and a role to play in cybersecurity, and it doesn't rest with any one particular individual.
Correct.
It's got to be cultural, and if we equip our people with the tools to be discerning, they're going to be much better prepared in general.
Yep, definitely.
But the expectation can't be that, training is the silver bullet. That there is no silver bullet.
No.
There are multiple strategies that need to be implemented here when it comes to cybersecurity. But they've got to be set at a balance of doing business, which is always the trick, the important thing to make your business continue to work. But critically, when you consider cybersecurity and you've established a robust framework, it signals to your people internally, quality is really important to the business. And it signals to your clients that you take them and their data and their business seriously. So the cyber journey is not just something that's going to be a benefit for your business in creating cyber resilience.
No, that's right.
It's a great commercial aspect as well.
Oh, that's exactly right. One way to think about it is the whole workplace health and safety. If you go on a job site, you have to have a hard hat.
Yep.
A few years ago, that wasn't the case. You have it, and it's a sign of you're looking after your staff and your people on site. You're doing the same with your cybersecurity, with your data, which is your virtual environment.
No, that's a really great learning and probably a great place to end this. But it's not the end of your cyber journey. So thanks for joining us. We appreciate your time. And if you need any more information, please reach out to us. We'd be happy to assist. Thanks for coming.
Thanks.
Cheers.